Hello, I'm John Ainsworth, and I'm here with three Tomorrow people. Peter Vaughan Clark, Nicholas Young.
Hi.
And new boy, Mike Holloway.
Hello there.
Great
anticipation.
How old were you when you did this?
I was 13 years old, and I was also in the pop group Flintlock at the time, so it was a bit hectic for me because I was learning two scripts at one time, the Tomorrow People, as well as the You Must Be Joking, which was the Flintlock series, so it was a bit of a confusing time, but very enjoyable.
As well as How to Play the Drums, that well-known book.
So how did you actually get the part? Was there a connection between you?
Yes, there was indeed, because I was in the group Flintlock. I was the drummer and one of the front persons, and Roger Price was the producer and writer of the show, and he saw me in one of the sketches, and it was John Blundell and Ray Burdis who were the comedians and on the show, and we did a sketch together, and Roger saw me working and basically arranged for me to have an audition for the Tomorrow People. The part of Mike Bell was coming up, and the rest is history.
Right.
I believe it was Leon Thor was the director of these as well, who was a lovely man. And I was a very young boy, and he took me under his wing, and I always remember that. He was very helpful man. If you're out there, thank you.
I don't think he is out there, sorry to say.
Ah, it's a
I think
shame.
he's out there.
Because he used to do Potty Time, isn't he? Michael Bentine's director.
You're right.
He was, wasn't he?
That's right. And he was such a lovely, lovely man. So I've got fond memories of my first entry into the Tomorrow People.
And were Nick, Peter and Elizabeth very welcoming to you?
Indeed. No, I have to say, we had our banters, we had our fun, we had our little bits of emotional moments. I mean, you know, it was great.
Close-ups, you mean?
Fighting for the close-ups was the biggest thing. Nick always won, of course.
Not necessarily, actually. Nick's face has gone quite steady.
Well, I thought the competition was between you and Peter, actually, Mike.
Well, you were always stuck in the car park, so you couldn't get in anyway.
I was unaware you were counting my close-up. Didn't know you could count into two figures at the time.
So, Peter, did you feel with the arrival of Mike your days were numbered, or did you?
I think we basically all did, because there was quite a few of us, I think. Dean Lawrence Tyso is in it, in this one.
Only just.
Yeah.
So there was too many of us, I think, and the idea was they were going to scale it down because there was just too many.
They wanted quality rather than quantity.
Well, yeah.
Talking of which, as I make my entrance here, we ought to explain what these cobwebs are. This was because the previous series, that was going to be the end of it, because once they realised that Peter was leaving, they thought, well, that's it.
That's right. It's all over.
Show cannot carry on.
Yes.
So to explain why we've been off the air for at least 6 weeks, they had cobwebs. We obviously couldn't afford a domestic. Don't know where Liz was.
So where have you been at the store?
She's been cleaning up, shouldn't she?
You'd been off on the galactic trip, hadn't you?
somewhere, probably, yes. Well, that's Chiswick, isn't it?
There's a good...
Here he is, stroking his pussy.
Haha.
Again.
Enjoy your
Yes.
food. You'll always be my friend, won't you, Timmy?
These are the cat.
He was a
numbers
very well-known Irish character actor, this bloke. I can't remember his name, but he was always playing these sort of roles
No one ever comes
in
to
these old
visit
British
us
movies
today.
and things.
Ah, it's you.
And the chap in the white suit's John Hollis, isn't it? I think, is that right?
John Hollis.
Oh, you don't seem very pleased to see us, do you?
I don't want their own
He played
don't want to see you. Go
a
away.
cameo of Blofeld in one of the James Bond films.
That's where I recognise him from. Thank you. I've been trying to work that
Roger
one
Moore
through.
dropped him down a chimney.
That's the one.
Yeah.
You know I haven't got that much money. Please, leave me be.
Oh dear. He hasn't got the money. Do you hear that slow boo-boo? He hasn't got the money.
The other actor was a well-known...
Dunning doesn't make you come into
Face, wasn't he?
Mr. Dunning? How dare you call him Mr. Dunning? He's Lord
Lord
Dunning.
Dunning.
Yeah, Paul somebody or other, was it? I can't
Because
remember.
you like to play the jijis.
No, Timmy, no. Put him down. Put him down.
And that's a very strange story as well about Mr. Dunning, because with the band running alongside the Tomorrow People, the band being Flintlock, there was a man called Eric Dunning who was involved as an agent with the group, and
Is it Eric Dunning or Chris?
Eric Dunning.
I thought you were Chris
No,
Denning.
No, no.
Oh, not him, no, yeah. Just
And
banged up in Russia, isn't he?
well, I think Eric Dunning probably ended up the same way.
Well, you want to save your cat? Give us that
He does
money
the
now.
flying now for Peter Pan and things like that. He's got the rigs for the flying
Oh,
apparatus.
like Foys and
Yeah,
people like that.
but he was a very shady character, and to go back to the point, Roger based this this character on him being a bit shady.
Ah.
That's a
I
bit
think,
dubious.
again, the whole thing reflects Roger's attitudes to the establishment in general, that, this big, greedy crook has to be lured to demonstrate his particular prejudices.
Roger was quite clever, though, because he would pick up on everybody's hobbies or projects or likes. I remember saying once about enjoying gliding very much, and I think further down the line you'll find there's about 3 or 4 episodes all based around gliding. So that was quite good. I got petrified while I was up there, mate, but...
What were your hobbies, Peter?
My hobbies.
Can we discuss them on
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them have been
You're probably
legalised now.
just.
And were they incorporated into the programme?
1967, I think they legalised.
This was a children's series. You
This
couldn't
was, yes.
incorporate those kind of hobbies.
My hobbies were not much at that time. I think I worked in a motorbike shop. I think I enjoyed taking motorbikes apart and stuff like that. But
I think you enjoyed chemistry. I seem to remember you putting
yes,
noxious subjects down the loo.
down
when
the
you were
toilets in the
rehearsing,
rehearsals.
yes.
Yeah.
Knocking
I always
everybody out.
remember at this point, at some point during this series, Peter was very welcoming, going back to your point about how I was welcomed, and we had a party at your house.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And we arrived, and he had arranged for all this equipment to be put into the garden for us to make a noise and play a Mick Jagger song.
No, you played Jailhouse Rock, and you played 2 numbers before my mum pulled the
And
plug out.
exactly, and all the neighbours went absolutely mad.
Yeah.
And needless to say, we stopped playing
you
rather quickly.
I must draw your attention to this. This is very interesting how Nick has to help Elizabeth take off her...
Oh, yeah. Hold
She's holding on to the wig.
But you're right,
It was all
Mike.
high-tech, though.
You're right, Mike. Pete was very welcome at that stage. I think that was before he realised you were his replacement.
That's right. Once that happened, I was never welcome by the house again.
We all came round to that house, actually. It was quite a halfway home for all the
It
kids.
was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was lovely.
There were some very hot women there as well, I seem to remember.
Yes.
I've not mentioned any
Including
names.
Elizabeth O'Darry.
One or two of them went on to bigger and better things, didn't they?
Who?
I can't mention that. I can't mention the name.
Or this little moggy is going to run out of all his 9 lives at once.
Thank you.
Dear me, cruelty to animals being portrayed in a children's programme. It's not good, is it?
That's a very well-behaved cat.
Yeah. I think it had been drugged, actually.
Could barely stand up. Yeah.
That's right. Ate too much food before the take.
And had its claws removed.
Yeah. I'd like to meet that kid, Two-Tone.
I was always interested as to how Elizabeth O'Darry took to this influx, because there was quite a lot thinking of it now. There was PVC, I came in, then there was Nigel, then there was Dean Lawrence. There was a hell of a lot of male changes, whereas Elizabeth was quite steady through it all.
Well, Nick
So-
and Liz
Yes, indeed.
kept the continuity, I should think.
But I think those were the good old days when the ratio of men to women in drama was much greater.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Quite right. Oh,
Yes.
wouldn't get away with that now, would you? Oh, dear.
You got money to pay your debts?
No. No!
Yes.
Hasn't he done this already, Stuart?
Take it.
A fiver.
What else do you want to count?
And Eric Dunning, funny enough, again, that white suit, that's exactly how he dressed, but he was a very large man.
Mind you, £5 in those days was Mike Holloway's entire fee for the series. wasn't
Yes,
it?
indeed. For the whole series.
I'd love
That
to
was the
know
other
exactly
thing.
how much we actually did get paid for all this. I didn't.
Not a lot.
Not about 100 quid a week, wasn't it? I think.
It wasn't a lot. I mean, really, when you
Was
look
that
back
all?
now, we were very, very underpaid. Very underpaid for what we
It's funny,
did.
when they offered me £1,000 a week, they said we were all getting the same.
Well,
That's the only reason I took it.
O'Reilly told us his name, and we know where he
just
lives.
like today, isn't it?
Yes.
It was classed as exposure. She looks lovely there, doesn't she?
As opposed to where?
Yes, as opposed to what later on
In her other movies.
I think she looks lovely in every shot.
when the wig goes, because the wig does disappear soon.
Well,
later on.
It goes to braids, doesn't
We've
it?
already discussed this. It was very non-PC to wear a wig. So the ethnic look came in the next series.
And we actually were very naughty, because what we would do is, while Tim, Phil Gilbert, was on this funny mic doing the voiceovers, well, I speak for myself, I'd go around and make him laugh and do all sorts of
that's right,
obscene
in the booth.
things to put him off.
Obscene things, darling.
Oh, this is you, Peter.
Oh, yes, very nicely jaunted.
Oh, that was
I could never
very-
properly jaunt like the others. It was like that.
Legs very
No, it
close
was like that,
together.
like
Well,
a
it was a
hamster.
tiny bit camp,
take
but
the
I mean, I
strings
think you got away with it.
Everyone else is like that.
I don't think people weren't quite so aware in those days, Peter. So, it was called breaking out anyway, not coming out.
Now, that should be a lager by now, I should think. But kind of like, get it right. Well, what are they looking at me for?
Well, you're looking very smug.
Oh, well, I think that's what you say, isn't it?
Tell me why you're looking at me as though you've just seen a ghost.
Why were we?
Oh, I probably was written out. They came back.
That's right. That's right.
We're not meant to be here.
That's right.
If you say so.
The kid don't even know his name. He must be stupid.
Ah, shut up, son.
He's a sort of Arthur Mullard replacement, isn't he?
Can't be every day he gets to meet two famous theatrical agents like us.
Yeah, we ain't theatrical agents.
Do you know, it's funny watching these, Nick, because you can really see all the help that we actually gave Roger with all the stories that he put together.
A Rubicon.
A hard man to cross.
We should have had some script royalties out of this, really.
And some directorial royalties as well.
Yeah, that would have this.
Mr. Rubicon.
Yeah, you can tell.
And now, Michael, Mr. O'Reilly.
When was the last time you saw any of these episodes?
I can honestly say this one, I don't think I've seen for at least 15 or so years.
I don't think I've seen it since it ended.
You mean you don't have these on tape?
No.
And you haven't watched them
You don't
since?
religiously watch them every year.
Nick sits at home every night watching it. He knows all the words.
Well, of course, now you've got them on DVD, even zip through them.
Inconvenient. I wonder if you could give me and my associate here a little demonstration.
But there was good camaraderie in the rehearsal room. Where was the rehearsal room where I think during this you and Mark Lester,
Oh, God.
you made this disastrous bomb
Yes, we won't talk about the disaster.
in the
Mark
toilet.
Lester's fault. It wasn't mine.
They
Mark
rushed
Lester's
out.
a reformed character, so let's...
Yes, he
leave it
is,
at that.
actually. Isn't
But
he?
it's interesting dialogue. And the toilet absolutely exploded, and we had to abandon rehearsals in that room for the
Well, that's
afternoon.
why I'm saying one of his hobbies was chemistry.
It was, wasn't it? We did blow it up.
Oh, dear.
Here is Mike getting his wages out of the
That's
week.
right. Look, that's just for the day.
That looked too much for you, was it?
But the rehearsal rooms were in Hampton Wick,
Hampton
which
Wick.
is a church, wasn't it?
Correct.
Which is now a nursery, I think.
I like that.
You've been back to check, have you?
I have, actually, yeah.
He's
Funny
checked
enough,
in.
It's very
me and
diligent
Nick
of him.
we did go back and check.
Just to explain, it wasn't vanity or sadness. Somebody was making a documentary on the Tomorrow People, and they wanted to film where we rehearsed it.
2 in a box, down with the lid.
No, and I also do remember during this this filming particularly, I was obviously nervous, and he's not here today. Have you done any with Phil Gilbert yet?
Yeah.
Voiceovers, yeah, because Phil was brilliant, because I was really, really nervous, and he was my little rock, really.
Well, this would be your first day on the job, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Petrified. How were you, Peter? How did you feel?
How were you on your first day on the job?
I was just wondering something totally different then. I was wondering, when did you break out?
Well,
We all had breaking out scenes.
Well, that's sort of part of the story.
That's it.
Because they've been away,
Right.
and he's broken out.
While we've been away.
That's
right.
right. You didn't know, you see. I'd actually broken out and you hadn't clocked it, and then I get found out.
Did they not film a scene where you did break out and they didn't use it?
I done you a favour. Yes, you did.
The loss of
I
scenes.
got that question off the internet last night.
Oh,
Funny enough,
very
from
good.
Jackie Clark. If
no.
you're out there, Jackie, you are.
Thank you
I've
for the
got-
question. What's the answer?
Yes, what's the answer? Did you film anything?
But has he fully broken out, or is it just that
Well, he's obviously got his powers.
he's got telekinetic powers?
But you can't.
I haven't fully broken out
He's
yet.
got to do his scream and then disappear into hyperspace. That's power for the cause.
All those who believe in telekinesis, raise my hand. Very, very subtle, that one, isn't it?
Very subtle, but very good. It's only early, and I'm impressed.
Rather more subtle than most of the dialogue.
There you go. Eating
Peter's
again.
eating again.
Always
Oh, you got
eating.
your old man's woolly sweater there.
Right.
You like those sweaters, didn't you? for
I
some
didn't
reason?
like them. I was told to wear them.
I thought it was...
I think they realised he was on the way out and didn't want to spend any money on wardrobe, but that's what it was.
Well, we never. I don't think I kept any of the costumes.
I was going to say, you didn't get to take it with you.
I think we could
Unlike
buy
me,
them.
I still wear that jacket.
You've still got it.
Still got the shirt as well.
And also with this new set, if you remember, there was this big furore with the youngsters, not so much for Nick, on this close-up of Tim's balls, which frequently appeared in the script. The
Who's that?
computer balls, of course.
Tyso.
Ah. But again, as previously stated, the whole point was that
That's Dean. There you go.
it
Yeah.
was originally written as 13 stories, and the reason why so many people appear is because he kept coming back for more. But initially it was only going to be 13 episodes, you see. So there wouldn't have been more than 3 or 4.
Well, you're being a bit shirty with him there, Nick, aren't you?
What about? What did he say?
I think he's come back 85
Taking the
million light
lightest bit of
years
notice of this episode.
just because he wants to see his mum or something.
Oh, yeah.
Dean never really gelled. I don't know about you guys, but Dean never gelled with the cast. I didn't feel...
I know what you mean, yeah. There was a lot of competition about, I think, we're all about the same age. You were the new upcoming star, so
Yeah,
me and Dean, there was always that thing. I'd been in it for so long anyway.
Yeah.
That I knew that was my last.
Yes.
I was quite happy in a strange, bitter and twisted way to get kicked out. I was off to do other things and fail at that.
It comes to us all.
Yeah. But Dean didn't really know, I don't think he was the business that well.
No, not at all.
He wasn't really a lovey. Not like us.
Do what they ask, please.
He's moved on to more interesting things, I think, hasn't he?
He has indeed.
What does he do, Peter?
Makes erotic clothing.
Oh, does he?
Really?
I wonder where he
PVC
got the idea from.
Yes, it's funny.
Sorry, made in PVC? did
Made
you
in
say?
PVC, yeah.
Ah, or modelled by PVC.
PVC, yeah.
Modelled by PVC.
Yeah.
That's right, yes.
Please, Michael.
Well, what is it you want me to do?
Come on a
He's
job.
a very successful
You know what that means.
guy now.
Just open any locks we ask you.
Who?
Dean.
What job?
Successful at what?
What he does.
We're gonna tell you that you
Whatever that might be.
Kinky underwear.
So you mean at this stage he was just up and coming, and now he's
Haha.
It's just...
Say no more. Yeah.
set your family up somewhere away from these buildings. Somewhere nice. Your mama
So
like that.
did Dean leave at the same time as you, Peter?
Yes, he did, yeah.
Oh, did he? I didn't realise that.
I believe so. I mean, I don't know.
Well, we'll find
My
out.
last one was Into the Unknown, wasn't it?
I can't remember when.
No, me and Dean did leave. We went off to put traffic tickets on
It's a shame he
spaceships in the galactic trig for the rest of our lives.
It's a shame he left at this point because his spots had just started to clear up, hadn't they?
I know, it's a shame, really. They scooped it well, didn't they?
He discovered Clearasil.
Well, I think the joke was that he'd gone on to do pantomime, pass in boots, wasn't it?
I didn't say
Oh,
that.
dear.
I didn't say that. He's a big guy, Dean, now, you know. We've
Yeah.
been through this before.
Which is exactly why I had no comment to make about him, you know, not really gelling. He's probably gelling now with most of his wares.
Communications of a trained mind.
Look at that slim body there.
On you to detect the more inexact.
Ah, now we've got the new jaunting belts here, haven't we?
Is this
Which
their
are-
first
we've gone
appearance?
Yeah, they're
is
crossword
it?
puzzles rather than buttons.
What was the reason for that? Did they lose
I
the
think they
others,
lost the
or-
belts, yes.
They did. I think you're right. They did lose them, didn't they?
Plus a bit of belt tightening in the budget.
Uh-huh.
God, that outfit you're wearing is old man, isn't it? You expect to take a pipe out, don't
It's
you?
very Starsky and Hutch,
Bit
actually.
of pipe and backy.
Not even to save ourselves.
You do a lot of sitting around, don't you? Not really.
Yeah.
They're not very fit, are they? I mean, you know,
we
I
keep
was
it-
outside keeping active and they're sitting around
Waiting.
munching food and talking nonsense.
Waiting for an alien invasion or
Yeah,
something.
Mike was practicing his drum rolls, wasn't he?
Yes.
Where's Tyso now? He's been sent to his room. Hasn't he?
He's been sent to his room to change.
Actually, there's a definite maturity here, you know, Peter. You just look like an adolescent rather than a child.
Yes,
In all seriousness.
Yes, it's true. So, I mean, I
In
think
other words, you were losing it.
I was losing
Yeah.
it, yes, losing that impish look.
Whereas Michael looks like a puppy dog, doesn't he?
Yeah. So it's more, you know, more
If you-
with the girls.
Yeah, if you like that sort of thing.
If you like that.
Well, it reminds me again because invariably after filming these particular ones, I remember I was having to be loaded into a car and driven off to a recording studio because I was recording Hot from the Lock, the album, as well as doing this.
Right.
Hot from the lock. Is that
Yes.
anything to do with what you're doing now?
Hot from the lock? What was that?
That was the when we were
Teddington
doing Pauline's Quirks. do you
Oh,
remember?
right,
And
right.
You must be joking. We did the live album from.
Whatever happened to Pauline Quirk?
Oh, she did very well.
Did she?
Yeah, just a bit. You manage her, don't you?
I never managed her. Did anybody else manage her?
She's done very well for herself, and Linda. If you're out
Linda
there,
who?
hi.
Linda who?
Linda Robson.
Linda Robson.
Linda Watson. I actually saw she came to see Joseph a few weeks ago, actually.
Can't believe it's not Flora.
Yes. Sounded like somebody laughing.
So I think Roger had a good eye for moving, you know,
Tyso, are you playing
moving
tricks
characters in and out at the right time. He was quite ruthless with it, though, looking back on it.
True, but it's TV.
Well, yes.
See, now you've grown into your face now, Nick.
You
She's
mean-
always there.
Don't go jaunting.
What do you mean, the sort of clean cut, good looks?
You look exactly the same.
Yes.
Yes.
You mean I look 50 then?
All right, I mean,
Thank you, Peter. Just because I made a comment about your old man's jacket.
The old man's jacket and the...
See, you bought after the show and are still wearing. But you've run into that too.
Did you ever buy any of the clothes after? That's a good
All of them.
subject. Did
All
you?
of them.
Don't think I do.
I went to Take 6 and various other trendy establishments in Wardour Street and Carnaby Street and bought those outfits.
Oh, you went up there, did you?
Yeah, bought them at half price after.
We went to buy rights, didn't we, or something?
I think Millets, I think it was known as.
Millets,
Spelt
yes.
millets, but...
Millets. We did actually get some in millets, I think, I remember.
No, I think it was Mr. Byrights and Kingston Sales for us,
Yeah, it was
wasn't
Kingston or Richmond we went to, wasn't it? Just in the lunch hour.
You could sell that hair as a wig, couldn't you? I think it's a better wig than Elizabeth's wearing, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice. Look at that. Not a grey hair in sight, Nick.
No.
A huge amount of sitting around, isn't it?
No,
The cod policeman. Yeah.
This again is Roger's prejudices coming out. See, that all policemen are fools. And here he is with a bowler hat. Total prat.
Have you watched these before? Yes, you have.
Who's the actor?
Tim somebody or other, I think.
He's one of those faces, isn't he? That
Yeah, another one.
tons.
Yeah.
A lot of character work he's done. What's his name?
Hello, 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 wherever we are.
Boat.
That sort of performance.
He's even squashed his ear, look, the top of his ear down.
Yeah. Yeah, they were definitely caricatures, weren't they?
Surprise, surprise. When we woke up, we was in there, weren't we, Slow?
That kid. When I get him, I'll wring his neck, won't I?
Kid? What kid?
No kid. Nothing.
Nothing.
About subtle as a brick, isn't it, really?
This is like something out of a pantomime, isn't it?
Well,
to be honest?
absolutely.
It really is.
It's a carry-on film, really.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. I'm going to throw the book at you two. Tom, I'll finish with you. They bring you back here, shut the door, and set the time lock for 100 years. Now take it away.
Well, here we are 30 years later. It's only 70 to go. He's shut himself in, hasn't he? Subtle humour.
Constable. Fred.
Even the music.
Even the trumpet.
Yeah.
Sort of waiting for
Oh, my God.
more food.
Burnt toast.
Who's this for?
Yes.
Must have been cooked by Elizabeth. Oh, no, Tim. Cooked by Tim.
Oh.
Now, why don't you eat it at that table? Why do you have to go to another table?
Because
to
I
eat
need a
it at?
close-up. And if I come back
See?
down here and I get
It's a CU. Where's my CU? Here it comes, here it comes.
And there we are, the white sweater before they became infamous. You get away with wearing a white sweater in those days, didn't you? Pre-Hampstead Heath days. Absolutely no comment from
They'll,
Peter.
I'm not saying a word.
I've never been there, I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what you mean. I'm a resident of that area, actually. I'm allowed to wander around.
It is burnt toast. Ah.
You managed to burn the toast.
Ooh.
That's,
Bit grumpy there.
Well, I don't think we'll be troubled by
Yeah,
your
well, now so it
situation.
is, but Jesus.
Can you come in for a minute, Michael, please?
Sure. What's up?
Oh, two new heavies.
I don't
Morning,
remember this.
Michael. I've been wanting to...
Lord Dunning.
There it is.
Lord Dunning.
My name is Dunning, Lord Dunning. I believe you had
Must
an
be a life
adventure
peer.
last
Couldn't be a
night
genuine
with two of
aristocrat, I
my
don't think.
men.
Oh, well.
What was he doing with a couple of his men, did he say?
Yes. I don't know. I didn't hear it.
I hear you've been dabbling with a couple of my men.
And robbing a bank.
There weren't cash machines in those days, so...
I didn't notice the billing there, Peter. Were you
These are
after
quite
Mike
high up.
Holloway? Or?
I was, yes, I was,
yes,
yes.
yes.
Yeah, well, they couldn't move it, I don't think.
No, cost too much money.
Cost too much money, got
Until
it.
the next time, and then it gets just... I'm just after the end when the credits go. It says, Lord Dunning.
Ah, Harold Casket.
Harold Casket. And what was the episode where we had that lovely blonde Russian girl that we never saw, Nick? Do you remember? We never saw her, actually.
That lovely blonde Russian girl, he says.
I know, that's the one I've been doing my own work on.
Yeah. As if he can't remember who she
lived in
was.
Chelsea?
Pavela.
Yeah.
That's the
Pavela.
Yes.
I know what you...
Yes.
Yes.
Don't ruin the surprise.
I know what you were up to.
Yes.
That's the dirtiest business, isn't it?
Oh,
That's the one,
yes.
yes.
Some Anna Dubenska or something.
That's the one.
Wow, beautiful.